On the news, Nigeria's unemployment rate surged to 27.1% as NBS released fresh labor force statistics report. Military special forces arrived southern Kaduna amid efforts to restore peace to the troubled region. And Angolan court slams 5-year jail term on son of ex-leader. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. In the last 22 months, no fewer than 830,000 Nigerians lost their jobs as the country's unemployment figure rose from 20.93 million in the third quarter of 2018 to 21.76 million in the second quarter of 2020. This was contained in the Labor Force Statistics report released by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, on Friday. According to that report, unemployment rate surged to 27% in the second quarter of 2020 from 23.1% it reported in the third quarter of 2018. It also said that the number of persons in the economically active age of 15 to 64 years jumped from 115.4 million to 116.8 million within the period under review. The unemployment data also indicated that the number of employed people in the second quarter of 2020 slumped by 15.8% to 58.5%. The National Judicial Council (NJC) has recommended to President Muhammadu Buhari the appointment of 4 judges for the Supreme Court. The body also nominated 18 other judges for appointment in other courts across the Federation. Among the Supreme Court nominees are Justice Abdul Aboki and Justice Mohammed Garba, who were members of the 2019 Presidential Election Petitions Court that upheld the election of President Muhammadu Buhari. In a statement on Friday, NJC's Director of Information, Soji Oye, explained that the decision to recommend the appointment of the judges was taken at the second virtual meeting of the Council, which held on August 11th and 12th respectively. Oye also revealed that the NJC dismissed 16 petitions filed against some judges for either lacking in merit or for being under judicial consideration. Ireland has agreed to return to Nigeria the sum of 5.5 million euros looted by former head of state Sani Abacha. This follows the signing of a memorandum of understanding between both countries. Ireland Minister of Justice and Equality Helen McEntee, who announced the agreement, said the MOU followed an order recently issued by a court in Ireland regarding the funds. She stressed that the return of the assets will be a concrete demonstration of Ireland's commitment to international cooperation in the fight against corruption. It is estimated that Abacha looted as much as $5 billion during his regime from 1993 to 1998. Nigeria has so far been able to recover $3.6 billion stolen by the former leader. The Committee on Citizens' Data Management and Harmonization, inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari, has concluded its assignment addressing the concerns of the United States on citizen data. This follows the ban placed by the U.S. government over information and security challenges in relation to Nigerian migrants. Adisha Odushaga now reports.
In January 2020, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, suspended the issuance of visas that can lead to permanent residency for Nigerians. Giving reasons for the suspension, the U.S. official says the country failed to sufficiently exchange information on terrorism suspects and criminals. Following the ban, President Muhammadu Buhari constituted an 18-member committee on citizen data management and harmonization. The committee has now presented its reports to President Buhari, asking for the establishment of a national DNA data bank, testing laboratories and data collection structures and formations across the Federation.
The estimated cost for equipment, facilities, and processes required to implement recommendations as detailed in the report is 71.12 billion naira. While the committee is not unaware of the nation's dwindling resources at this time, it is recommended that a special intervention fund be set up for the implementation of the committee's recommendation in view of its enormous benefit to the nation, which include issuance of a unique identifier, the National Identification Number (NIN), to all citizens and legal residents in Nigeria. 2, an effective citizens identity management system as a critical tool for planning, as well as national and global security. 3, a centralized identity database for all citizens and legal residents for validating and authenticating identity-related information. 7, providing a reliable and comprehensive database that meets international specifications for identity management protocol and information sharing. And 7, collection of citizens and residents' DNA in the criminal information database.
While responding to reports presented by the committee, President Buhari says overturning the ban placed on its nationals might take enormous resources, but the nation is making progress.
I am delighted that this progress, especially the uploading of lost and stolen passport and travel documents, has been acknowledged by the United States government. I further note with keen interest the recommendations for the setting up of a national criminal information management system fashioned after the Interpol model and a national criminal DNA laboratory, as these would aid criminal investigation, administration of criminal justice, as well as sharing of relevant information. The implementation of these and other far-reaching recommendations as articulated in the report will fully address all outstanding issues that led to the visa restrictions.
While actions are still on the way for the Nigerian government to meet up with the concerns of the United States of America, visas are still open for Nigerians to study, work, and tourist visitation. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360, Abuja.
And talking security now, special forces from the Nigerian Army deployed by the Defense Headquarters to restore peace in southern Kaduna have arrived Kafanchan. They were received at Sector 7, the headquarters of Operation Safe Haven, by the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan. Addressing the troops, the Commissioner charged them to take the battle to the bandits and ensure that peace and security is restored to southern Kaduna. Kaduna has been experiencing a series of attacks, with the most recent on July 19, leaving 28 people dead. Well, security experts have been reacting to the statement of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, calling for more international support in Nigeria's battle against insurgency. The minister decried the refusal of some world powers to supply Nigeria vital weapons needed to combat insecurity. In an exclusive interview with TV360 Nigeria, Kabir Adamu, a security risk management expert, highlighted some of the factors that could have prompted the actions of some of the foreign powers.
The international weapons market is a very tricky market. A few countries control that market actually, and at the top of that is the US. And the US has been very clear in terms of what it wants developing countries to achieve before they sell weapons to developing countries. And the most obvious one has been democratic principles, respecting the human rights and other democratic principles. And I think the fear is that they don't sell weapons to a country that has autocratic tendencies. And then the one that most times we don't talk about, our intelligence capabilities, because you want to make sure by the time you sit on the table, you have all the information required for you to purchase that weapon. In other words, if there are elements within that industry that need to give consent for those weapons to be purchased, then your intelligence network, your foreign intelligence network would have provided you with that information. And so when you sit on the table, you've already lobbied them, and they are supportive of that move to buy that weapon. The other very important element is the ongoing, what I would call, trade war between China and the US, and how each of these sides is trying to win allies. Now, Nigeria, we've been sitting on the fence, as it were. We are, tiptoeing with China on the one hand, and at the same time tiptoeing with the US on the other hand. So it's high time we put our stake and understand that as a regional power ourselves, To an extent, our consent is required in certain diplomatic practices. And so when we go to the international market, these are the kind of things that we need to put on the table.
The Department of State Services, DSS, has described as fake news the claim by Obadiah Mailafia that a governor from the north is the leader of the Boko Haram sect. The secret police on Wednesday invited Mailafia to its office in Jos Plateau State capital over the claim he made while being interviewed on a radio station on Monday. After his release from the custody of the secret police, Mailafia said he stood by his claims, but the DSS, in a statement signed by its spokesperson Peter Afanaya on Friday, said on the contrary, Mailafia agreed that he erred and apologized for making the claim. Afanaya added that Mailafia's outburst gives credence to the DSS alert about desperate efforts by some notable personalities to cause a total breakdown of law and order. Unknown gunmen have killed lawmaker representing Das constituency in the Bauchi State House of Assembly. Musa Baraza was killed at his residence in the Das local government area on Thursday night. Confirming the attack on Friday morning, the Bauchi State Police Command said the gunmen also abducted his 2 wives and 1-year-old child. The deceased has now been buried in accordance with Muslim rites, while a manhunt is ongoing to apprehend his attackers. Law enforcement agencies, especially the Nigeria Police Force, should be held accountable for their unlawful actions. This was the position of the Network of Police Reform in Nigeria, NOPRIN, during the launch of its book titled Effect of Bad Policing on Nigerians. At the event held in Lagos State, Chairman NOPRIN Coordinating Committee Saviour Akpan lamented how security operatives who are supposed to protect citizens continually abuse them without being held accountable for their actions. Our correspondent Abisola Adebayo has the rest of that story.
Law enforcement institutions are entrusted with a diverse set of tasks to secure lives and properties of citizens. Where a high degree of integrity is absent, law enforcement officers become vulnerable to acting unlawfully and outside of their duties. In situations like this, civil society organizations say the officers should be held accountable for their unlawful actions. At this gathering, the group highlights some of the unprofessional policing styles and conduct of the Nigerian police officers.
Government effort in reassuring the citizens that there is hope of a better policing of their constitutionally guaranteed human rights in 2005 during the extrajudicial murder of the 6 Igbo traders, that is the Apo 6, unfortunately was short-lived. Nigerians across the country continue to be abused by the very people who are supposed to protect them. Also, with government attitude towards not making the report of such commission of inquiry public and the persistent lack of feedback from the justice system, to reassure the public of action taken to serve as deterrent to further violation of citizen rights with impunity by state agencies like the police. It becomes necessary for civil society organizations to continue shouting and calling out the unprofessional policing style and conduct of the police as an organization and that of its officers and men respectively.
This civil organization is calling on Nigerians to stand up for themselves or make an official report whenever there is a violation of their rights by the Nigerian police.
There are many ways or different ways of police abuses. And we have police extortion, unlawful detention, unlawful arrest, extrajudicial killings, among others. And we know that we may not be able to be everywhere at every time, but we can empower everybody to stand out or stand up for him or herself wherever there is a there's violation of human rights, and that is part of the process. We have petitioned 50 cases, which is another way through which we can help and ensure that citizens have access to justice.
Chairperson of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, Lagos chapter, also says the continued underperformance of the Nigerian police is an indication that reforms and accountability should be taken seriously.
For the police, we cannot do without them. We need them because we need security, but as we can see, insecurity is one of the problems we are facing today in Nigeria. And then talking about effective policing, the pertinent question is, how far have they fared? How far? It has not been so wonderful. We are talking of the police being an enforcement agent. Being an enforcement agent, we can be looking at the fact that we require them to do something tangible on the area of the law.
Earlier this week, President Muhammadu Buhari commissioned the newly constructed Police Mobile Force Training College in Nasarawa State, saying it is part of the government's unwavering determination and efforts to bring reforms to the Nigerian police force. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Nigeria.
And talking politics, hundreds of women in Edo State have defected from various political parties to the People's Democratic Party to support incumbent Governor Godwin Obaseki in the forthcoming governorship election in the state. The supporters announced their resignation when the campaign train of the women's wing of the PDP in the state made their first stop at Isako Ward 4. The women say they decided to switch camps to ensure the good work started by Godwin Obaseki continues in the next 4 years.
Women were the APC before, said and they decamp go PDP because now PDP road there now. Road not there for APC again.
I call PDP because of Governor Obaseki. He has done a lot for Okpela.
We declare because God wins. We declare because of Obaseki is a good man, a man of the people, a man who doesn't take side, a man that stands on his way. We declare to him because he's God said to Edo State.
The say Oshomole who tell us that Todaleni that he want to Todaleni is a godfather, he's the one, he's the father no maker, but today the Oshomole did what Todaleni cannot do. That is why I decided to leave APC because Oshomole is not a truthful man.
Well, let's take a break here, but still to come. Nigeria is among 7 African countries set to begin coronavirus antibody tests next week. More details after this break. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. Here are some of our top stories tonight. In the last 22 months, no fewer than 830,000 Nigerians lost their jobs as the country's unemployment figure rose from 20.93 million in the third quarter of 2018 to 21.76 million in the second quarter of 2020. Latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics released on Friday also revealed that the number of persons in the economically active age of 15 to 64 years jumped from 115.4 million to 116.8 million within the period under review. Ireland has agreed to return to Nigeria the sum of 5.5 million euros looted by former head of state Sani Abacha. This follows the signing of a memorandum of understanding between both countries. Ireland Minister of Justice and Equality Helen McEntee, who announced the agreement, say the MOU followed an order recently issued by the court in Ireland regarding the fund. Special forces from the Nigerian army deployed by the Nigerian military to restore peace in southern Kaduna have arrived Kafanchan and deployed to various communities in the region. Receiving the soldiers at the headquarters of the Operation Safe Haven, Kaduna State, Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs Samuel Arawan charged them to take the battle to the bandits and ensure that peace and security returns to southern Kaduna.
Shegun. Alpha, say tomorrow see day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Now beg you. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If we want to elect a new secretary, we fit to
do one for WhatsApp or for Skype or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms. but every infected person is contagious.
Well, let's now shift focus to the COVID-19 pandemic. Nigeria's COVID-19 infections has crossed 48,000, with the country reporting 373 fresh cases of the virus on Thursday. The new cases confirmed in 19 states, and the FCT takes Nigeria's COVID-19 total to 48,116. The figure was confirmed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and CDC in a tweet on Thursday night. According to the agency, 34,309 patients have so far recovered from the infection and have been discharged, while the fatality toll has surged to 966. The Ogun State government has suspended weekend lockdown imposed in the state. Governor Dapo Abiodun made this announcement on Friday, saying he took the decision after thorough deliberation, consideration, and resolution with stakeholders. He also said the move was due to the opening of worship centers across the state. Abiodun, however, noted that the limitation on social gatherings not exceeding 20 people at any place is still in force. The federal government's homegrown school feeding program put in place during the COVID-19 lockdown has come under heavy criticism by Nigerians, some of whom have alleged that the initiative, which cost over 500 million naira, never took place. But a non-governmental organization, Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, PACA, has come out with a detailed report on how the program was established. Now, TV360 Tunjoye has more on this report.
While the kids fed, that is the title of the book released by Parent Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa. After months of research, investigation, on-the-spot assessment and data collection across the 6 area councils in the FCT by the organization, it has now been confirmed that the federal government, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, actually fed school children during the pandemic.
The first thing that is clear is that it happened. There was a challenge as to whether people were already confused about whether you can have, you can feed the children during the period of lockdown. Where are the children? Who are the children? Where were the children? All of those issues have been taken care of by the fact that this study has exposed the fact that people actually got these rations.
This program, and I'm sure the executive director can testify to it, that it happened. Yes, and it was quiet, but it actually happened. Items were purchased, households received their items, and the families that received them were better for it.
With the aid of charts, tables, and pictorial evidences, the 54 pages document proved that the 6 area councils in Abuja, which were used as case study, actually got food palliatives from government. According to the statistics, 99.5% of school children benefited from shared food items in Abaji area council, 98.7% in Abuja municipal, 91.0% in Buari, 87.7% in Gwagwalada, 96.8% in Kuje, and 97.3% in Kwali area council.
During the lockdown, people continue to argue that it did not happen. So we wanted to show that people actually, pupils in targeted areas within the 6 local government areas, had access to some of these resources. And for all the things that were said to be distributed, the only thing the recipient said they didn't get was the tomato paste. But the 5 kg rice, 5 kg palm oil, and the rest of them, people received them.
School feeding program is not new to Nigeria. It's happening in many other countries. Unfortunately, Nigeria has been out of that, was not implementing it for a long time, where other countries have been doing it for 50 years. More than, in South Africa, they're doing 9 million children. In Botswana, they're doing it for over 50 years.
Of course, no area council benefited 100%, but definitely this is an outstanding record of success considering the logistics involved in sharing food across the nook and cranny of the FCT. Expectedly, the research noted some shortcomings.
There was no engagement with the moral institutions in the targeted places where you want to do this. By the moral institutions, I'm talking about traditional rulers, religious leaders, community people. Engage them through the media. You cannot tap the website or anywhere in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and find a standard beneficiary list. So the opacity around that data is a huge challenge.
Now that the argument of whether the federal government fed school children during the pandemic has been laid to rest, it is expected that government will learn from these recommendations for future use. From Abuja, Tunji Oye, TV360 News.
Still to come is business news. After this break, stay with us. Welcome back. Let's now join Onya Adekunle for business news.
Thank you very much, Fidelia. And updates on the stock market today. The bears appeared on the NSE to erase gains from previous session. The Osha Index dipped by 0.15% to close at 25,199 basis points. Consequently, investors also lost about 20 billion naira in value of listed equities. But in summary, investors in the country's bourse traded a total volume of shares valued at 482.5 million, valued at 4.5 billion naira. The oil and gas sector shed losses today, and leading the pack of 16 losers for the day was CAP, followed by MTN Nigeria, as well as Unilever and Nigeria Flour Mills PLC. But on the flip side, Unilever came third on the chart, while I beg your pardon. On the flip side, CNI Leasing led the pack of gainers, followed by BUA Cement, and of course, Fitson Healthcare and Red Starex also chalked up gains at the close of trading today. But moving on to the foreign scene, FTSE is down in the reds, recording losses, but US stocks are rising, as well as Nikkei, which is also up by 0.17%. And that's it from here. It's back to you now, Fidelia.
Thank you very much, Oyi, for that update. To the foreign scene now, Angola's Supreme Court on Friday handed a 5-year jail sentence to Jose Filomeno dos Santos, the son of former President Eduardo dos Santos. Dos Santos, who is 42, was summoned before the court in December over allegations that he tried to embezzle up to $1.5 billion of the Sovereign Wealth Fund, which he oversaw from 2013 to 2018. 3 co-defendants, including the former governor of the National Bank of Angola, were sentenced to between 4 and 6 years in prison for fraud, embezzlement, and influence peddling. Zeno is the first member of the former presidential family to be prosecuted as part of an anti-graft campaign led by President João Lourenço, who came to power in 2017. And talking sports, Sarina Wigman has signed a 4-year deal to succeed Phil Neville as head coach of England's female national team. The current Netherlands head coach will take over the Lioness in September 2021, following the rescheduled Olympic Games in Tokyo. She will, however, lead the Lioness to the upcoming Euros in 2022, for which England will be hosting, as well as the 2023 World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Well, that's it on news now. Many thanks for being a part of it. Bye for now.